I should have a transwarp to Taldewa. In fact, I do. Yay! That makes it easy. Now we can go straight to the Solanae gates. And to Dyson Joint Command we go. Enter gates to the Dyson Sphere. And there we go. I always want to do that for some reason, but you have to get closer to dock. This is the Dyson Joint Command thing. Now we can beam to Joint Command. This is the open zone, so everybody from the game is here. This is not the fleet one or anything. This is open zone, Dyson Joint Command, everyone comes to. Alright, we need to speak to Cole, and he's probably in his office, I'm guessing. Yeah, there he is. Oh, cool. Starts right up for us.
Ah, come in. I have a special assignment that requires a delicate touch. A science ship on patrol in grid Beta 53-30 received an encrypted message from the Voth.
Aren't we fighting them?
This wasn't a message from a military ship or the Voth leadership. This was an encoded short-ranged burst from a Voth science outpost. I think we may have a friend in the enemy's ranks.
A friend, eh?
It'd be best if any communication from our side didn't come from our leadership, for reasons you'll soon see. I want you to pursue a dialogue with this individual. See if we can turn them into an ally. That is all.
I see. Okay, well, a potential friend in the Voth, perhaps? Computer, load file.
I'm trying to contact any member of the mammalian occupying force who is willing to open negotiations.
Mammalian
I
occupying
am Neelan
force.
Exel of the Voth Circle of Archaeology, and I believe that we have common scientific goals that can only be achieved without the interference of our respective militaries. Working alongside the best minds of the Voth Circles of Science, I have been studying this celestial structure, its function and its original inhabitants. Our work has yielded some troubling information for those seeking to uphold the doctrine that we are the original intelligent species in the Delta Quadrant.
You're not.
The Voth Ministry of Elders maintains that science is only valid if it supports their own fictions of history. I've lost too many colleagues to this terrible government censorship.
Sounds like that Voyager episode, huh? Very similar, at least.
What I've been able to discover on my own and away from government interruptions is that this sphere was created by a race under direct control of a species called the Iconians.
Durr.
Even ignoring the huge cache of records we found here, the mere existence of this sphere proves that there are powerful entities my government refuses to acknowledge, perhaps to our ultimate doom.
Perhaps.
I will not be so naive.
Because we know about
Left
it.
high and dry by my own people, I am left with few options. There must be a sympathetic ear out there that realizes we have entered the nest of an enemy that neither of us are prepared to face alone.
Computer, record a new message to Neelan Exel. Well, that was really interesting. So basically, the Voth, well, I bet their higher-ups know that the Iconians exist, and higher races and beings like the Solanae and Iconians, but apparently they don't tell everybody else. They, like he said, they only acknowledge the science that benefits their doctrine or whatever. That sounds very much like that Voyager episode. So we've got a Voth here who is open-minded to possibilities out there, that they're not the first intelligent species in the Delta Quadrant. And in fact, we know they're not because they came from Earth in the Alpha Quadrant. And but they refuse to acknowledge that bit of fact. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so this Voth may want to help work with us maybe then. let's see. I guess that's it. So that was Unexpected Friend. Boy, that was unexpectedly short. Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's nothing else to do. That was the mission. It was just a cutscene. Okay, well, that makes it easy and simplified. Let's go on to the next one, which would be, no, Unexpected Friend. No, wait a minute. No. Unlikely Neighbors. Yes. Unexpected Friend was the first one we just did. Now it's time for Unlikely Neighbors. You have received an encrypted message from your contact inside the Voth, Neelan Exel. Return to Dyson Joint Command to listen to the recording. That's Unlikely Neighbors. Wait. Return to Dyson Joint Command to listen to the recording. Oh, go to Science Lab. I wish you could make this primary. Clear primary? No. I guess it is primary. Okay, Unlikely Neighbor. Go to Science Lab. Okay, so we need to find the Science Lab on this station. Where would that be? Are you a Science Lab? No, you're a Media Library. Ooh, Science Lab. Here we go. Another cutscene. I am contacting Admiral Time Lord.
Your message, even if I have to keep this conversation a secret from everyone I know. There are many topics that have been deemed controversial and off-limits. Inquisitors examine our work on a regular basis. But questions need to be asked if we are to maintain any sort of scientific credibility. Have you ever wondered at the fact that both our people were able to enter this sphere from opposite ends? That we could move through halls, through rooms, through entire buildings without finding another living thing? Until we encountered one another. The Ministry of Elders would have me publish papers claiming that this sphere was created by our ancestors. But why would they abandon this place? Why would anyone abandon this place? As far as I can tell, this place was commissioned but not built by a race called the Iconians. A war forced them to abandon their home in favor of this more strategic location. Imagine how many fleets of warships could fit inside here, fed by food grown on thousands of hectares of carefully constructed surfaces, powered by the entire energy of a star, and all waiting to ambush from the dark space of the night sky. The Voth are not warmongers. We have taught doctrine to weaker species, but weapons are usually not required. When the Voth have encountered opposition, we have resisted attempts by others to add us to their own ranks. Fights between evenly matched adversaries tend to be futile. A sphere might convince some that the odds have shifted in our favor. Which brings us back to my first question. Why did the original inhabitants of the sphere leave? Did they feel safe and pick a fight against a superior enemy and lose? Or were they forced to leave by some internal flaw in their fortress? We may all be doomed to the fate of those who lived here before if we aren't careful.
End of file. That's a good question. Why did they leave? Huh. Okay, resolved mission, Unlikely Neighbors. So that was easy and simple enough. So yeah, it does bring up a good question. Why did the inhabitants of this sphere leave in the first place? And leave it open to pretty much anybody. I mean, look, the Voth came here, we came here, Klingons, the Romulans, everybody's here now. But we do know it was created by the Solanae, who are the servitors of the Iconians. So the Iconians commissioned the Solanae to build it. Yeah, we know that. The Voth really are behind, I gotta say, because the Federation knows this stuff already. Okay, let's go to the next one. Unsafe practices. You've received an encrypted message from your contact inside the Voth, Neelan Exel. Return to the Dyson Joint Command to listen to the recording. So another recording, and we need to go to Science Lab. Hey, I know where that's at. Now let's see what he's got to say.
Hello. Thank you for continuing to remind me that there are other sane minds out there.
You're welcome.
My concerns about the dangers of the sphere's technology have fallen on deaf ears. In rebuttal, I'm fed propaganda about the sphere's Voth origins and how easy my job should be. But how easy can a job be if I'm constantly being interrupted by alarms and avoiding catastrophes? In my lab, the Ministry of Elders and their Inquisitor lackeys have installed accomplices who are willing to answer yes when I say no. Advancement is their only goal, not reason, not discovery, and certainly not safety. Unfortunately, they are rarely up to the tasks for which they volunteer. But the problems may be bigger than incompetent lab techs. No one here wants to hear that we may not be capable of using this technology, or that the cost of trying could be the destruction of this entire sector of space. The builders of this sphere aren't here to tell us the results of their experiments, but I'm convinced that something did go terribly wrong. There is evidence of a celestial trauma that has significantly reduced the energy output from this installation's central star. Add to that the fact that the spires have been optimized for a different spectral band than the one that this star produces, and we're left with strong evidence of a large-scale industrial accident. Such an accident would explain why this place was abandoned. I've conducted a detailed scan of one of the spires and found trace amounts of tetryon particles. Any industrial accident large enough to leave these trace tetryon particles thousands of years afterwards would have permeated all organic life caught in the blast, with enough tetrionic energy to force any survivors to retreat to subspace. So, if the creators of this technology weren't savvy enough to prevent such a huge disaster, what chance do my people or yours have to do any better?
Good point. He raises good points.
I fear this technology. I fear it in not just the wrong hands, but in any hands.
He is a smart
We
Voth.
need to work together to make sure no one tries to activate the sphere. Our lives may depend on it.
End of file.
And I guess that's what happens in A Step Between Stars, is that we do activate the sphere, and then so it jumps, or we have to evacuate. It jumps us to the Janolan sphere, and which jumps to the Delta Quadrant as well. So weird stuff happens. Well, it's all kind of coming together. Well, let's move on to the next one, which would be unsavory actions. You've received an encrypted message from your contact inside the Voth. Return. Okay. Go to Science Lab again and watch recording.
I'm sorry for the delay in my response, but I needed to take extra precautions with my communications. After another round of disastrous tests in combining Voth and Sphere technologies, I was offered up as a scapegoat. I am no longer a member of the Voth Circle of Archaeology.
Oh, well.
But I've been doing this for so long, it's hard to stop keeping an eye on my former colleagues' experiments. Now my curiosity is tinged with a hint of fear. Their findings may be corrupted. When it was discovered that the Omega particles generated by this structure were sent to collection sites in the outer shell, the first thought was to blindly jumpstart this process, rather than to methodically determine its purpose. I'm afraid our leaders are so entranced by the perceived benefits of this advanced technology, they are willing to forego common-sense safety measures. Luckily,
Sounds familiar.
there are a few of us left who make safe and sane actions our primary objective. And luckier still, there are enough of your ships and soldiers causing problems inside our defensive lines that my actions are blamed on you. I'm not alone in this opinion. Our superiors are pushing hard to unlock this technology. There's a perceived lack of progress, and they are trying to make up for lost time. I'm sure you understand gravity as it applies to physics. but it also has a social component. When our leadership feels pressure, it is quickly felt by those below them. First by the military, then by the citizenry. The Voth have never taken kindly to dissenters. But there is no comparison between those who speak out against doctrine back home, and those who fight for basic scientific inquiry here and now. I fear I'll be discovered at any moment, but I fear even more that the work I'm doing won't continue on. Please stay safe.
End of file.
Well. Okay. So that completes that. One more, and then we'll be done. So this is the one that unlocks at Tier 5, and it's called Unsaid Thanks. You have received an encrypted message. Return to Dyson Joint Command, listen to the recording, go to the science lab. It looks like, look at all these benefits we're going to get. We're going to get skill, look at all this expertise and skill points, and this is what I like, 750 Dyson sphere marks. 32,000, I think, dilithium ore, energy credits, and a Voth bridge officer candidate. Science. Oh, so we're getting a Voth bridge officer, an actual bridge officer. That is Voth. All right, let's see this. His last message here. There's me doing important work. That's me. All right, Sub-Commander, can I help you?
We've intercepted new Voth military communications. I think they've outed your contact.
No, run! I'll save him because I'm the doctor. Computer, have any files been received from Neelan Exel?
One file received at 0530 hours today.
On screen.
I'm sad at the thought that this may be my final transmission. I've enjoyed our talks together, but I came across something tonight that is too important to leave to chance. I was recently assigned to the Circle of Material Sciences. Apparently, my expertise in using isotopes to date archaeological finds means I'm an expert in chemistry, at least to a military personnel officer. One disadvantage of keeping disciplines separate based on expertise is a lack of shared knowledge, where my new colleagues added footnotes about inverted tetryon particles. I saw a connection to omega molecules, a connection of which they were unaware. On a small scale, my hypothesis yielded a small rift. Applied to the scale of this entire facility, this sphere was built to travel through subspace, across the galaxy. The Voth leadership was excited to learn of this discovery as well. Imagine an entire solar system full of ships hiding inside this sphere. Imagine teleporting them anywhere in the galaxy in an instant. I assure you there are Voth battle plans in the works right now using this strategy. My species is under attack near our home sector. The fighting has reached a stalemate, but there are still lives being lost on both sides. Every option is being examined to bring an end to the fighting, even the most extreme. I've seen reports on weaponizing omega molecules to destroy large swaths of subspace and lock our enemies into their own parts of space. I must put an end to my people's pursuit of such disastrous weaponry. I will not have a part in isolating the Voth race by making space unnavigable, even at the price of a continuing war. My work with the Voth is finished. Hopefully I will not follow suit.
End of file.
Go get him. Maybe you can find him before his people do.
Ooh, I get to go get him. Go to Sphere Space Allied Zone. So before we do that, just talk about this a little. There's somebody fighting the Voth at their home world in the Delta Quadrant. Now, they don't reveal who that is. Rumors out there and about in the forums are that it's the Borg, that they have come to the Voth's territory and are you know, doing devastating damage to the Voth. But the Voth being so advanced, they are also able to repel the Borg in a way and reach a like stalemate, basically. But they ultimately want to push them back completely, and one way to do that is to destroy subspace so they can't even travel there in the first place, or at least patches of subspace. Well, that's obviously detrimental to anybody who wants to navigate in subspace. So, and of course accidents could happen, and these omega particles could destroy large parts of subspace and make travel impossible. Now all this of course deals in the Delta Quadrant, and I think that's what we're going to see in Season 9. Rumors are Season 9 is Delta Quadrant, so it makes sense that they may expand upon this whole Voth fighting whomever they're fighting in the Delta Quadrant, part of Season 9. I hope they do, because that really does sound exciting. But we've also learned, and of course we learned this in A Step Between Stars, that this Dyson sphere itself is capable of traveling through subspace to other parts of the galaxy. So really, you could fit, you know, warships in here, whatever, a whole lot of, you know, a huge army the size of a solar system, and move it in space to anywhere you need and deploy. Now that is pretty freaking awesome technology right there. The Iconians, the Solanae, way advanced. Yeah, we're just way advanced. Now it says to go to Sphere Space Allied Zone, but isn't that where I'm at? Maybe I need to go outside. Is that where I'm supposed to go? Allied Zone is just out there, isn't it? I'm just making sure, because sometimes the terminology is a little confusing, but there's nowhere to go here. So I guess we need to beam up to our ship in the Allied Zone space area outside. Yeah. Okay. Locate Neelan Exel. So okay, cool. I'm guessing he's that way in the rectangle that says locate Neelan Exel. Since we don't know what to expect, I will cloak. Of course, we're in a Voth ship, so we should look friendly to them. Huh, where is he at? Oh, he's way out here. Oh, he's in the minefield area. So he's close to the contested zone. Okay. Well, we'll just wait till we get there. So yeah, that's a very interesting storyline they're building here with the Voth. And of course, the Voth are in their own minds about technology and where they came from, and deceiving everybody that they created this sphere, which obviously they did not. It looks like we get to go pick up our friend. This will be cool. So this is, I guess, how we get the bridge officer then. Sort of in the circle, so I guess I just have to find him now, like literally find him. Is he in the Voth escape craft? Oh, yes. Wait, I had it. I think he is in the Voth escape craft. Yes. Contact Neelan Exel. Unsaid thanks. Thank you for finding me. I've been hiding out in the debris, hoping that my Voth brethren wouldn't discover me first. After everything that's happened, I feel a tremendous guilt for furthering any Voth plans that could result in destruction on such a massive scale. If they succeed, we could lose the galaxy. It's too terrible to even contemplate. Perhaps I could join your crew and aid in your efforts to keep such destructive technologies out of the hands of those who would abuse them. If you'll have me, that is. I think I will have you, and look at all these things you're bringing with you. Thank you for that. Look at that. Expertise. Oh yeah, I've got a bonus going on, so I've got 900 Dyson sphere marks from that. 32,000 lithium, 40,000 energy credits. Oh yeah, baby. Greetings, Captain. My name is Neelan. Exel. Okay. I don't want to commission you right this second, but that's it. It's over. Let's go to stations. I want to look at them. Voth Science Officer Candidates. Cadet Neelan Exel. Voth Mel. Starfleet Science Bridge Officer. So he's a Science Bridge Officer. He does Tractor Beam 1, Hazard Emitters 2, Charged Particles 3, and Gravity Well 3. Nothing too crazy there. Suspend Animation Self-Res for ground abilities. Interesting. A Bioorganic Sedative holds targets. Cool. Superior Creativity, Superior Covert, Medical Tricorder 1, Tachyon Harmonics 2, Vascular Regenerator 2, and Nanite Health. So he is set up as a medic for healing right now. Of course, you can change his powers, but that's how he's set up. So his ground abilities are Suspend Animation, Bioorganic Sedative, Superior Creativity, Superior Covert. Wow, that is really cool. So what is... see, when injured, the Voth are able to enter a state of highly regenerative suspended animation, allowing them to appear as though dead, but actually rapidly heal their wounds. Okay. Ground trait, the Voth Bioorganic Sedative is fired on spines from their wrists, causing paralysis in enemies who threaten them. This ability holds the target for several seconds and lowers their run speed for a short time. Okay, so he could be a cool guy for the ground for you, for a science ground officer, but he doesn't really have anything special in space. But he could be a cool ground officer for you. Well, at least he's free. I've got no free bridge officer places right now. Sweet. So there you go. That's the Dyson Joint Command. I guess we'll call them cutscenes because they were not really missions, even though they go to your mission log and you have to run them like missions. It's pretty much go here, watch cutscene. But you get a lot out of it. So I got like 900. The reason why I got 900 sphere marks is because, or Dyson marks, is because I've got a reputation bonus mark going on right now, which is almost depleted. But that allowed me to go from, went from 750 to 900. That's impressive. So to get the 3-piece Dyson set I want, I need 1,500 Dyson sphere marks because it's 500 each. So I'm very close. Now, in a couple of days here, I will have the 3-piece. Whoa, hello. I'll have the 3-piece set I wanted to try out. But unfortunately, I'll have it on this character. I need it on Rassilon. Anyway, this character is going to have all the Dyson stuff before anybody else because this is the one I started the reputation on anyway. But now I've got everyone else working on it. I used, of course, the sponsorship thing on my other characters to level up Dyson Joint Command faster on, so that will be nice. Anyway, don't know what else to say. That was Dyson Joint Command. We learned a little bit more about the Dyson Sphere and the Voth, and perhaps hints about what's coming up in Season 9. Again, the Borg and Voth thing is just a rumor. It could be a different alien, but we'll see. Now, as how that compares to New Romulus, obviously the New Romulus tiered missions, reputation missions, were much more involved. You actually went down to the planet of New Romulus and with your bridge officer crew and got to do things. Excuse me. And especially the last one in New Romulus was a really big reveal of the Iconian Gate on New Romulus itself. So that was more elaborate. This one is very much more scaled down, but it did give us information. But yeah, I would hate to have to wait between each Dyson tier to see those videos because they're really, it's better just watching them all at once because it's just a little pieces of information in each one. And you might forget what you saw the last time, unless you rewatched it. They did not have any tiered missions like that in Nukara Strike Force or Task Force Omega. And I wish they had, because I like that idea of attaching missions or cutscenes or whatever to ending each tier. It gives you something to look forward to. However, they do it assuming that you're going to watch those before you play the next mission that's associated with it. For example, when I'm having a brain fart, the the mission Sphere of Influence was released with Worf. That was based on that was based on the fact, or they were, I guess, basing that on the fact that you had played through the new Romulus Reputation, and had done all those missions and had seen the Iconian Gate on New Romulus. But if you haven't done the New Romulus Reputation, all of a sudden Sphere of Influence is just a shock to you. Like, whoa! All of a sudden there's an Iconian Gate. How did that develop? Well, if you do the New Romulus Reputation, you will see how that develops. But they kind of assume you've done it from playing the mission, which is not true, because I know not everybody in this game has done that. Well, the same way with the Dyson Reputation and A Step Between Stars. There is some dialogue, and it's with Commander Cole at the very beginning of A Step Between Stars. He mentions the Voth named Neelan Exel. He mentions him by name. But if you have not done the Dyson Reputation at all and watched any of the cutscenes, you're like, WTF, who is this Neelan Exel Voth, and why is he on my ship? Is he a spy? I've never heard of him before. So they kind of assume you've done the Dyson Rep before you play the mission, which is false. And I think that kind of thinking needs to stop. They need to stop relating the Reputation tiered cutscenes or missions with follow-up missions like A Step Between Stars and Sphere of Influence. They need to disconnect them and just make it a standalone story, because not everybody does the Reputation stuff. Not everybody does all the Reputation stuff. Some pick out, well, I'm just going to do Task Force Omega and leave it at that. Some choose to do all of it, but not everybody does. They should not make the following missions based off of the fact that of thinking that everybody's done the Reputation stuff and have seen those missions or cutscenes. They should not rely on that at all. So that's where I disagree with how they've set it up. I think that they should attach missions or cutscenes to the Reputation stuff, Reputation tiers, but that it should be standalone. It should be standalone from the main storyline, or standalone from future missions. Just something extra to do in the game, basically, or to look forward to. Maybe something that's related to that, yes, to that, to the theme of the Dyson Sphere, but that's a standalone. Like, for example, I would have loved a standalone mission like that unlocks at each tier with the Dyson Joint Command, where you go down on the surface of the sphere. And I know they have the contested zone where you can go to the battle zone and do that with the T-Rexes and all that, but I'm talking like, how about an exploration mission where you have to lead a group of scientists or whatever into a new part of the sphere that no one's ever been to before, and you're on the ground and you're exploring these artifacts and you're exploring something new about the sphere, and along the way you do learn something about omega particles, and you do learn some stuff, but it's nothing that if you didn't do wouldn't hurt you if you played future missions. See what I'm saying? It just a standalone mission that would be fun to do at each tier, that's kind of related to that Reputation, but doesn't rely on the fact that you need to know it or do it to play future missions. That's what I'm getting at. I think that makes sense. I think that's a sensible thing to think. Maybe I'm wrong. You can let me know in comments or what you feel about that. But anyway, I do hope in future holdings that they give us, and I'm sure this won't be the last one, that they do attach, keep doing those things at each tier. And make them missions. Don't make them just cutscenes. Make them missions. Give us something fun to do. Anyway, that's the Dyson Joint Command. I hope you all enjoyed that. And if you haven't done it yourself, well, you can watch this video, and there you go. You'll see just what it's all about. So thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for the next.